is this my best version? So when you can go into a meeting and say, no, I still have some room to go. I'm going to be my best version in the future. And this is what I need to work on. You start nurturing that. You start cultivating that. You start learning about yourself. And as long as every day you are being a better version of yourself, you're winning the game.
I'm your host, Shah Hurley. Each week, I invite a conscious leader in tech, sales, and beyond to share their inner journey, how they overcome obstacles, how they achieve success while staying true to themselves, and above all, what makes them human beings. I hope those authentic conversations serve as an inspiration for you as you continue your own inner journey of self-discovery, healing, and mastery. You ready?
I'm going to behave now, yes.
Well, welcome to the show. I was trying to figure out what's the best way to introduce you. There's a version where I can just say, hey, Camilo used to be a manager and Google, and now he's managing a huge team. I think you mentioned 300 people, but there's another way. And then I'll let you introduce yourself. Because I do not think you're my boss. You're also my friend. Like, you went to China for my wedding, and there's a period of time that when you were my manager, that was really healing for me in a way, because that allowed me to become who I am, who I was in that time. The corporate world could be a healing place for a lot of people. A lot of wounds can be really healed if you have a good manager and allow you to be who you are. That's my intro. I personally prefer this.
I'm going to cry. I prefer that one for sure. How about, go for it.
I would love to see you crying. I see you laugh so much. I never see you crying, Camilo, but I will.
I do cry too. It's normal. The cry.
Yeah. Thank you for being a good role model. In my life, my father was always like a friend to me. So I never really had a good father figure in my life. So when you build up the whole Cloud Ninja team, I do feel like you were like a father to the whole team. Like, you role model the things you told us. So that was super healing for me. I'm crying myself now. Anyways.
Oh, yeah, reminded me those days. Okay, cool. Don't maybe cry so soon into the podcast.
I know. I wanted to kind of hear about your journey. I wonder if there's any like dark moments or challenging times throughout the years while you transition into different companies, different positions, and carry on different responsibilities. Anything you feel comfortable sharing with the audience? Yeah,
so I would say like I hit really hard when I moved into the States, because I was used to sell into the Latin American market. So, and there is a culture difference there that I didn't take into account. Mostly in Latin America, when they say yes, probably it's a no, and when they say no, it's probably a yes. So there is some magic that you have to do to understand what is going on in those negotiations, in those discussions. And I was used to that. When I came into the States and I started selling and I started doing my own career here, I tried to find the no. It's like, oh, well, this person is telling me that if I do A, B, C, they're going to buy from me. And I just didn't believe it. It's like, it wasn't my reality. Like, no. There is something off here. It could not be that easy. And I resisted. So I was going to every meeting like, but why are you going to buy me? Tell me the truth. Are you looking at other vendors? And are you trying to just get my pricing? It's like, no, I want to buy from you, Camilo. Just do A, B, C. It's like, I'm not doing A until you tell me that you're actually going to buy from me. And I started just fighting, and I didn't understand at that time, like, the culture was different. And I was just trying to bring what I knew how to do from a sales successful role in the past into the US. And I just crashed really hard. I have a great manager at that time that really helped me. Look, if you're listening to this, that was really instrumental. And my team was also incredible. They really helped me to like show me the path, show me how to do it here in the US. They supported me. They came with me to different meetings. They allowed me to witness or like shadow their meetings as well. And I start noticing like, hey, it's a different culture and I can adapt to this. And once I adapted, I think the nice thing is that I was able to also bring my own culture back, be more authentic, but I knew how to play the game. So that was interesting to have that adaptation. And I think the second one that I disagree completely, I have a lot of challenges with this one, is when you look at the management books, they always say like, don't treat your team as a family. And I always treat my team, because I do that until this day, as a family, against every other advice. Because I do believe that you're spending more time at work than at home sometimes. And if you don't build that trust, if you don't have that willingness, if you don't support each other, those are the values that a family represents. So why? I think we're shy in the corporate world to talk about like feelings and emotions and connecting with people, because we believe everything is around numbers, and we believe like, oh, at the end of the day, if we need to lay off, do a layoff. Like, yes, we have to do it, and it's easier to not having to lay off someone from your family. The reality is not. When you have a layoff and you have a family, they're going to understand the rationality behind it. They're going to understand like the situation is tough, but you did your best to protect them, but it's beyond your control. They're going to exit like nothing, thank you. They're going to acknowledge things that you did for them. They're going to share the mistake that you also did for them. And they're going to have an incredible relationship after the person left the company or goes elsewhere. But that's something that I think we're too afraid sometimes to connect with people. And that's something I really like to do with my teams. I treat them as fun. I did my training like at a college in Chile. Well, I'm a business manager from Colombia, but then I traveled to Chile and I did a master's degree on sales management and marketing management. And I think I knew all the theory. So the theory was okay. Everybody was telling you like, yeah, you have to do this, you have to do that, operate like this, do this. And then I jumped into Google as an account management and I started growing my career in sales. I had no interest to manage a team, to be honest, because I was making a lot of money. It's like, oh, I like money. And this is the path that I want right now. And at that time I was married and we decided to have a child and I was traveling too much. I was like, this is not my path. But something that I was doing at Google, we used to work with pods. So I have Kelsey Domi, which is amazing. And she was my BDR, so she also helped me to find new deals. And I have Miran Nasir, which was my technical person at that time. We just bond together really well. And without being directly reporting to me, I try to build this culture within the three of us. We're going to do this. And I start setting meetings for us, the three of us, to connect. And I start like bonding with them, having lunch with them. And it's like, this is fun. Maybe I can think about like being a manager. Why not? And I was lucky because at that time came the Google, at that time was Google Enterprise, and they wanted to expand. And they picked Austin to create like the hub to grow the business. And I was like, yeah, I'll volunteer myself. I want to be a manager. I haven't done it in the past, but if you're brave enough to give me a team, I will take it. And I think I learned while I was executing. And at that team were like 6 or 7 managers. Some of them already living in Austin. Some of them, like me, moved to Texas from California. And what I found is a really energetic team. At that time was a really young team, diverse. People from the US, from outside the US, different backgrounds, different careers, different experiences in life. And when I started talking to them, it's like, okay, I want to know you. And having those first conversations, like, what do you do for a living? And what do you like here? What you don't like? I just want to be genuinely curious about that. And I think that's the one thing that I want to highlight first. Be genuinely curious about my team. Not because I have a second interest, not because I want to like use this to manipulate someone. It's because I really care about the person. And the more I know, the more I can relate to them, the more I can connect with them. At that time, I wasn't using feelings yet. I was more connected into like basic stuff, like where do you live? What do you do during the weekend? Let's hang out, things like that. The second thing that I discovered is like diversity is so important on a team. So I got Yusha coming with a great experience, MBA, coming from all the way from China. I got Camilo, which is an immigrant from Colombia. Came into the US with his brother and his mom. Different experience living in Seattle. Then he moved to Austin. I have an ex-military as well on the team, Eric, which is a great guy with family, 3 kids. Just to name a few of the people on that team. I have Austin, just to name a few more. And I got different backgrounds together. But when I started sharing, like, it's like, no, you have to do this. Look at this point of view. Every conversation, I was learning something. My team meetings became so fun. And I decided, like, I just need to, like, when you have a team that is so smart, that's the third thing. First of all, be open to learn about others, be genuinely curious. Second of all, I think like open those spaces, diversity is important. And I think the third one that is critical, has been critical to me, is like just trust your team. You need to hire smarter people than you. And I didn't hire the team directly at that time because I just got the team. But when I was into the room, I was like, dang it, I need to step up my game because this room is way smarter than me. So instead of trying to compete and try to show power over them, it's like, how can I just learn from them and how I can give it a room? One thing that I did in those team meetings, like I will take the ownership of the team meeting. We have a weekly team meeting, and I did something bold at that time. It's like, I'm going to have a rotator. Each and every single one of you is going to have the responsibility to drive this meeting. And I want you to talk for 30 minutes on a topic that is your choice. We had everything in that meeting. one of the big ones that I do remember is like Austin Clark on our team used to do raccoon hunting. So he shared 30 minutes to illustrate us about raccoon hunting. Don't worry about that. It's not about killing the raccoons, it's about finding raccoons in the forest. You share everything. We played games. We learned about experience from others. We learned about a trip that someone wanted to do. Before, like, why are you spending 30 minutes of your team meeting on non-productive stuff? Why do you think it's not productive?
Yeah.
It's really productive. If I go and to my team and I ask them, like, do you trust me? Everybody's going to say yes. Because we're creating a bond. We're creating this connection. And I used to say, as a family, we had a name. We were the Cloud Ninjas. And we did T-shirts. And we started hanging out together. And we just rally towards each other. And we rally with each other together. So you start getting that vibe, like, they don't need me only as a manager. They need a team. So when I wasn't available, they looked around. I was like, who can help me with this? And you have like 6 or 7 hands like, come here, I will show you. And we support each other. And we start just going against, and to your question, big piece of that as a manager is like fight for what you really believe. And when managers start like, no, your team, and I remember these people. At a time when at Google, we're using Hangouts to do all our calling. And there was an email telling me like, you have to put your team on Cisco telephony phones, old school, you need to dial in. And I need to see the dials. And nothing against Cisco, just the system that we were using at the time. And they put a phone on every single person's desk on the team. I was like, no, we're not doing this. But he was like, what are you going to do? I was like, look, we are setting a technology that is basically replacing these tools. We don't need telephones anymore. You can do it from your computer. So if you really believe in what we're setting, we're not going to use phones. And I took every single phone and returned it back to the IT desk. I was like, why you did that, Kyler? Right? People start questioning, like, why are you rebelling against this? Like, I'm not rebelling. Like, I need to trust, and I need my team to trust the product that we're selling. Imagine a customer or a prospect on the other side of the line. Are you using Hangouts today to make this call? At the time was Hangouts High School with me. It's like, no, I'm using other technology. It's like, well, why are you selling me on something that you don't even use? I do believe in balance. And I needed to shield my team from that noise. I needed to shield my team from like what we really believe as a team. And the reaction from them were like at the beginning, like, I don't want to use a phone. We're not a call center. We're selling technology. We can do this way better. When I dropped the phones, everybody was silent that afternoon. Nobody talked to me. Everybody was thinking like, well, they're going to fire me or something. I was like, Camilo, are you serious about this? Like, yes, please return it, or I will do it for you. And I stand against that decision. And I got like the opportunity to like push back, like, why do you need that? I got asked to like, tell me why I'm not aligned with this motion. Like, I explained my reasons. I gave my point of view. And they said, like, yeah, probably you have a point. Let's try with your team. Let's see how it goes. Like, thank you so much. Appreciate that. But you need to stand for your team.
It's a little bit controversial, I think, that you're talking about how to run an effective meeting, because in the corporate, we had back-to-back meetings. There's no break. Everyone's so busy. Imagine that you ask the team to talk about something that seems to be irrelevant to the business OKRs and all the stuff, right? Like, we used to do meditation beginning of the meeting, just calm everyone. And on the surface, it will be like, why? You know, like, are we going to be closing deals with this meditation exercise? Yeah, it does help people to calm their nervous system. I keep talking to my friends and families. I'm like, I don't think I enjoy sales. By the time when I was on your team, I kind of enjoyed it. I wonder why. I think this conversation probably will help me to uncover some of the answers. There are times when I had a manager being there for me and I could feel that. And that's where I know I can trust the manager and I'm in it when the manager needs me. I think what you described, your philosophy and how you manage the team, that totally makes sense. Like, it's not so hard. It's not so hard to build a trust with the team, but you kind of just shared your secret sauce on that.
Well, I think you mentioned something that is interesting. Like, partly it's not so hard. Building trust is a combination of different acts that happen every single day.
Right.
So from like being as a leader, you need to set the example. If I don't want my team to work on the weekends, I shouldn't be sending an email during the weekend. Just to give you a silly example on that one. If I want my team to trust me and I want them to open to me so I can understand, I need to be vulnerable. And one of the first things that I remember the team had a joke about me because they say a lot like pretty cool. So they say like, oh, you do this, like you have this accent and you always like pretty cool. And it's like, yes, thank you for noticing. And I was like, oh, and I remember like they were imitating me like, oh, Camilo, pretty cool, Camilo, pretty cool. That was a proof like other managers could react negatively to that one. Oh, don't joke about me. It's like, I was completely bored. I was like, teach me, what else can I say? Because that's the only thing that I learned to express that I'm happy. So tell me more expressions. Oh, you can say cool, you can say awesome, you can say this and that. And they teach me like 20 different words to try to replace that one. Still use pretty cool all the time. But it was just great that when you are in front of your team and you are able to be vulnerable and say, hey, you know what? I'm having a bad day. I'm angry today. I'm frustrated. And I need you to probably give me that energy today because I don't have it. Other times when I see the team down, it's like, okay, I need to be the light in the room today. And I took that on my shoulders, like, okay, I know that probably you're feeling the heat of the sales process and all that, but we're here to support each other. And you just tweak it and you just read the room and you're able to like give them everybody the certainty, like you got their backs and we're gonna be fine. And we're gonna work together on this one. And probably the reason that you like sales is because you were not doing sales. You were connecting with people. You were like following certain best practices that we had. And you were also sharing those with other people on the team. And you were having connections with the team, connection with the customers. And you were not being put in a place where you need like to submit forecasts or talk about numbers every day. You were actually growing. And one of the discussions that we had at that time is you told me, I don't want to be in sales. It's like, great, I'm going to help you to get out of sales, but I need you 100% while you are here. We're going to talk about a space, and we created spaces at that time to talk about your career. What do you want to do? We talk about your compensation. We talk about your goals. We talk about what do you want it to be? Where do you want it to live? Your family. We talk about a lot of things. And by discussing that, I'm like, yeah, I don't see a way I can coach Sha to be in sales in the long term. But I'm going to get some miles from you because I need to perform. And at the same time, I'm going to start teaching her skills or helping her to connect with other areas so she can explore something different. I think that's a sentiment that is underrated. And one of the best things that you can do as a manager is see your team progress. And that doesn't necessarily is the next step that you have in your career vertical path. Sometimes progression is to move outside your org. Sometimes progression is to move outside your company. Sometimes progression is just to like take that vacation that you were waiting to do, or like take that sabbatical for a year that you were expecting to do, and you need that extra push. And that's what I wanted to do. Is like, I want you to fulfill your dreams. And at that time, Google was the vehicle. This is the vehicle that can take you. And that vehicle, at this point, short-term demands that you perform because we are a sales org and we need to sell. But it's also giving the opportunity to explore a whole different world. Yeah. Take advantage of that. And I push my team to always look into those, right? And I got super happy. I never blocked anyone who come to me as a, hey, I want to go to this area. It's like, how can I help? I put out work for you. And I just like, it's like, no, I think I got it. Like, no, let me help you because this is difficult and I can just make a case for you. And I support each one. It's like, are you not concerned about replacing the person? It's like, no, there is a lot of smart people in the world and I'm sure I'm going to find someone else. And we'll make it part of this team and we'll shuffle and we will be in good place.
Wow. I think you just expanded the definition of moving forward and moving upward or growing, because it's not just about hitting one number, getting more revenue, which is what a lot of managers might perceive as a successful sales leader. If you get your team to get more deals done, then you're a successful sales leader. But you're talking about something different, something even grander. To me, it's like, yeah, when I was on your team, I do feel like I was treated as a human being. You helped me to explore my dream. I do remember talking about some of the projects I wanted to work on, totally irrelevant to Google, like, the Slash project. I ended up taking photos for your daughter and then ended up talking about something that's so irrelevant. And I feel in my bond that I could share those things with you, the level of trust that we get to build. With some of other managers, I needed to think about it, whether like it's safe to say it or not. And I think it also connects to something you mentioned earlier, which was I think it's fundamental, like, that's in you, but everyone can learn to do it if it's not really in them. It's being curious about someone, like authentically being curious about someone, not to have a hidden agenda, like, because that might break the trust.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to manipulate people with the information you might get, and the trust will be easily broke.
And that's the point. Like it's all the combination of like actions, conversations, interactions create the trust. And that's called psychological safety. That's when you can express yourself. That's when you can ask a question. You can like declare yourself that you don't know about a topic. The challenge is so fragile that anything can break that trust. So I can build that trust for a couple of years. And I just go one day and they get an email to say, hey, look, do this. And I don't vouch for them. Or like they expect my reaction according to the values and the expectations that I have set up. And I do something completely opposite. You just broke the trust. You have to recover that again with actions, not with words. The team is noticed. Now, one thing that they are going to notice if you are authentic or not. Authenticity is something that you cannot replace. And call it the energy of the universe, call it sixth sense, call it something. But when you are lying and you don't believe in what you are saying, the team is going to know for sure.
Yes.
Probably they're not going to call you out in front of everyone, but there's like, this is full of like things that I don't believe. Like he's believing in. There's a question like, if he doesn't believe it, why I have to believe it? And you don't even notice what happened. Like maybe it was the tone of your voice, maybe it was something different, but they know that people know when you're lying to them. Even if you put your mask and you believe like, oh, I was so serious and I was so convincing. Oh yeah, every single team that I have been in, they have a parallel chat to talk about their manager. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Probably your person is like, I don't believe what he's saying. Oh, another Camilo move. When they have that, it's okay for them to talk. Yeah. But I think at least I got like, I think Camilo did the best for us and this is the result. So let's take a team and let's see how we can do this together. I hope that was the reaction on the chat because I was never on those chats without me. But I do believe that's part of the job, like giving them the trust and keeping your promises. And that's why it's so important to a family. Yeah. On a family, it's like you are committed, and if your family needs you, you just jump in. If your family calls you at noon, at midnight, you are gonna be there for them. If your family needs like a kidney, you're gonna be the first donor to go there. I'm exaggerating, but the idea here is like when you have those values, when you behave as a family, you glue that team together. And everybody's okay, let's rally because I know he's real and I can read him right away. When he's frustrated, when he's happy, when he's annoyed, when he doesn't like something. So I was just like living by my feelings. I don't feel good today and I'm gonna be mad and I will give you a heads up. Look, I need, today is not the day to bring problems to me. Give me 2 hours and I will try to compose and then bring it to me. And there were other days when I was looking for problems. Like, what can I solve for you? I see you unhappy. Tell me, what's going on? What can I do for you? There were days and he knew that.
Authenticity, it's such an interesting word because sometimes you just feel like it's so natural for someone to be authentic. But for other people, you feel like it takes some effort. What is your magic there for you?
There is no magic. I think it's just, it comes from my frustration. My English is not perfect. And look, I tried and I did trainings and yeah, I do have an accent and it's not going anywhere. And I still pronounce words that people don't understand. You get it. It's not going to change because I tried. And it's part of who I am. It's my second, it's my third language because I also speak Spanish and Portuguese. So it is with that. And you know what? Yes, they're going to make fun of me and I'm going to be laughing about that as well. And that's being vulnerable. Yeah. It's like, you are great at some things, in others, you have no clue what you're doing. And I told the team that, like, well, I have no answer. I'm going to commit to find it, but I have no clue what's going on here with my English. And I said, like, sometimes I was terrifying to go to customers, like, over the phone without cameras. At that time, we we're using cameras that much, it was more like phone conferences. Like, what if I don't understand this person in English? And I'm the leader. Oh my God. And I was terrifying. And it came to the meeting and like, can you repeat that? And, oh yeah, of course. I said, oh, so they can repeat if I don't understand. That's fine. And I talked to the rep before. It's like, hey, look, I know my product. I know what I can do from a sales perspective. But if something doesn't come as expected, just call me out or help me or save me. I was like, I got you. And it happens a couple of times that I was just like confusing based on my, probably I wasn't understanding. And they helped me. When I was being vulnerable, it's like, it's not my best suit to speak in English at a proficient level at that time. I feel way better now. But at the time I was terrified. And I got the response from my team was like, we got you back. That's because I was able to tell them that I was getting that. And the second thing that I learned probably too late. I was even aware of that. I was doing part of it, but it's like being a manager feels more like being a psychologist. You need to start. We don't do that a lot in the educational space. To teach managers, teach other leaders to connect with feelings, with emotions, first for themselves. So it could be some time to learn to connect with myself. Like, am I feeling okay? Prioritizing myself, get some time for me to rest, to work out, to read, to meditate. I wasn't doing that. But if you don't prioritize yourself and if you don't know your feelings, how you're gonna help others? If you're not feeling okay with yourself, how I'm gonna make other person feel good? And that's when you start seeing the mask. Like, yeah, the manager is having one life inside the work, outside or at work, and is showing the best face possible, but then goes out after 5 or 6 and has a really shitty life, is not enjoying, and work became like the salvation for that person. And that's because we believe like, oh, work is everything. I need my salary. No, probably you need to stop, prioritize yourself, talk to your team and say, hey, I'm having a hard time and I need a vacation, or I need to take time off, when I need you to like help me with this because it's unbearable to me. So those pieces are critical. They're connected with more feelings, and I was able to have those feelings. And I have a rule now with my team, like, how are you doing? And say, oh, I'm doing great. It's like, great is not a feeling. I need a feeling. Tell me your feeling. And they start like, well, you know what? I'm frustrated. So you're not doing great. You're frustrated. What happened? Do you want to talk about it? No, not with you. That's fine. Well, let me know if I can help you. Or others say like, yes, you know what? What's the issue with a mortgage? Okay, let me see if I can help you. Maybe I have some knowledge when I know someone. And I genuinely try to understand what's going on and see if I can help, because I like to solve problems. That's something that I have on my, I like problems. Give me one and I will try to solve it for sure.
I love that. I love that so much. Like, because when we put on the mask, that takes a lot of energy, and plus the stress already have at work, and going back home and then taking off the mask, and it maybe on one day it's not too much to handle, but like accumulated, it's gonna be a lot of inner stuff we're accumulating, and it's not worth it. And I love
exhausting
about this. Yeah, exhausting. And there's a people on social media, I think they have a photo talking about like a little like kind of like a video clips, and people before they jump on the meeting and they're like faking the smiling. And then when they're done with the meeting, they're like, oh, finally it's done. Yeah, exactly. But like imagine we have to go like back-to-back meetings, and every single meeting we have to fake a smile, and every 2 minutes after the meeting we have to like ground our energy and then back and forth. Like how much energy we needed in ourselves to really rebuild that energy. It's almost like we're giving ourselves a mission impossible to be happy in the workspace, right?
And you're having your mask, but the other person is also having their own feelings.
Yes.
But you can come in with your agenda, like, I need to get the status of these 20 deals from this person right away. If that person does the right state of mind, and so, yeah, I will do that later. It's like, what's going on with you? I see you all. Tell me more. What are your feelings? I know I have personal issues. I have all the situations. Like, do you want to talk about that? Yes or no? Let's switch this one-on-one. I was thinking about doing this. Can you just send me an email with that one? Let's talk about you. How can I help you?
Yeah.
That is opening those channels. And we don't ask enough, like, how are you doing?
I think
we just go straight to the meeting.
We ask that question. Just people have this like tendency to not answer the question seriously. We just then become just like a random, how are you? I'm good. I'm fine. And we never
I'm good. Let's get straight to business. Oh, we don't have time. We have only 1 hour. 1 hour is a lot of time. If you dedicate 5 minutes to actually build a room,
right?
I know I'm not doing great. Have you been in one-to-ones all day? Yeah. You know what? Before this meeting, take 5 minutes. Go and grab a glass of water, have a quick walk around the house, maybe do that errand that is killing you right now. You need to like turn off the washing machine, whatever. Go do it. You take 5 and come back, relax. Yes, you lost 5 minutes from your 60-minute meeting, but you have someone that is fully connecting with you now. Basically, you earn something instead of losing something.
Right. Like to me, it's almost like impossible to get to the level of awareness and an ability to connect with the people if you don't do that for yourself. If you're not able to take care of yourself, you're not, like you're saying, if you're not able to feel your emotions, you probably wouldn't even realize how important it is to name the feelings And I just did a 3-hour workshop with the Google leaders yesterday. And then I was asking everyone, how do you feel? And then everyone started to name their thinking, their thoughts, not their feelings. They say, I think da 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 da, but none of this stuff is emotions. It's just their thought process on certain things that's been stressful for them.
We just don't know our own emotions sometimes. That applies not only to work, that applies to real life. That applies with kids. How are you trying to raise a little one when you cannot identify your own feelings?
Yeah.
And so your kid is like, he's all the time doing something like hyperactive. Probably the feeling is like, he feels lonely, or she feels lonely. She just want to play with her. And that happened to my little one. It's like, she's like, when you see she's hyper, just sit down with her. It's like, I don't have been like working a lot lately, but I'm going to dedicate my next 30 minutes to you. Undivided attention. What do you want to do? They're like, I was feeling bored, but now that you're here, let's play something. And you have to name those feelings. Like, it's okay to feel bored. It's okay to be upset by something, but it's okay also to ask for more. You deserve more. So I'm here apologizing because I know you wanted this. And your behavior is your feelings talking. And as a kid, they cannot express that much. So imagine that when we are not even willingness to connect with our own kids. And I have to learn how to do that as well. Now to try to connect with someone that is not even part of our family. And if you have that bond, you have that trust, you're never going to connect. You're going to have a hard time doing that. And that's when I think comes into play all this around like getting to know others on your team. People are people, and you have feelings. That's what makes us different from animals. Like, we do have feelings. We think rationally. We underestimate that sometimes. Like, you don't know, how are you doing? Great. Let's keep going. Let's go into business. Like, take 2 minutes to connect. It doesn't take that much.
I never feel that my feelings and emotions were brushed off when I was having one-on-one with you, but it did happen with some other managers. And then even I didn't feel motivated to have one-on-ones, because to me, it's like, well, you just want to talk about deals. You just want to talk about OKRs. And then I can just write up for you. And then we don't have to talk. And then I can give some time back to myself to meditate and do things that actually give my energy back in that moment. And they say that how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So how you treat your family member, how you treat your friends is how you treat everyone else in the world. Doesn't matter their labels, titles, and authorities. Something that you mentioned earlier that's interesting for me, you mentioned about you're not comfortable with your English even before you jump on the call. You're like, I've done this many times in Spanish, but not in English. It's interesting you mentioned that, because before I started this podcast, I was like, English is not my first language. Why am I starting a podcast? Will people understand me? And my look is not like, celebrity level look. Like, I know the people that you invite to my podcast are not celebrities. Like, if we're going to watching this, but who cares? Like, who cares? I think it's on the soul level, it's there's really not so much about the language, or, it's if we're able to connect on the emotional level, and if we're able to inspire other people, none of the stuff, those are based on
this. The difference, like, first of all, you're doing something brave. You just mentioned what you're doing here. You're an immigrant, you have a great story here in the US. Probably you have told this in another episode, so I'm not going to go into that one, but you have a great story to tell. I think I also have a great story to tell. They was just chatting with each other because we became colleagues and to friends. And I went to your wedding in China. Thank you for inviting me. You took a picture of my daughter when she was like the first picture that we got like professionally were you. And you start connecting those dots. It's like, yeah, maybe with just one person who listens to this, like, I'm feeling the same. And I didn't trust my accent. And now they feel motivated to do something different. That's the universe talking to us. Like, we're having fun because we know each other and we know this is going to be fun. But if just one person listen to this, like, wow, we did something great for the world. It's awesome. And it only took us time, but it's time that we're having fun. So I feel I'm recharging with this conversation with you because I like you. I have been a lot since we talked this much. We became friends, so I love to know what is going on with your project and everything. I got an update before we started this podcast. So that is inspiring. And I do believe like that energetic connection of the world could be through religion, could be through energy, could be through whatever makes you feel motivated or move. But when you have those, I believe like at some point someone's going to listen to this and is going to say like, at the time that I needed this came into my plate and just changed the way I was thinking about business, changed the way I was approaching my career. with just one person who listen to this and say like, thank you. We just did great job. We just changed the life of someone. That's awesome.
Inspired by you, I've been just I'm a path of following joy. Whatever gives me joy, I follow that. And then it's interesting because to me, it's like time, the concept of time disappears. Like human beings, we created the concept of time and we put ourselves in box and saying we have to accomplish certain things with a certain time frame. Why? And then, when we're in a flow state and having conversations and, spending time with families and friends and people we care about, and then we forget about time. That's why it matters. So to me, it's like when we naturally follow things that allow us to have fun, be joyful, and we're going to achieve something great. And that just reminds me of the time when I was on your team, like 600% of quota attainment. That's the one time you're like, it's like, it never happened again.
Spent a lot of money with that as well.
A lot of money. So that's why I'm like, yeah, maybe I do care about money. There's nothing bad about money, you just need to consciously think about how you want to spend your money, not to be greedy about things. But when I was in your team, I didn't think about deals or numbers, or like it didn't feel stressed out. And then the time that you and I went to Michigan to close one of the deals together, and I nerd so much. I still remember the conversation when you and I are in the car. You're like, Sha, what did you nerd in that conversation with the C-level leader? And then that moment was a moment that guided me through certain difficult times, because that's a conversation I've been having with myself. Similar conversation, even though you're not there. But I'm like, yeah, like that's how I can have a conversation with myself. What did I nerd? How can I do better? How can I do differently next time? But in the moment, I was not thinking about whether I was able to close a deal or not. Like you did not give me a feeling that, oh, Sha, like you have to close a deal. This is a life-threatening deal. Like to be honest, we're not saving life, by closing deals. But
wait, that was a hospital, so technically we're saving life.
It was a hospital.
Yeah. It was a hospital, so kind of we're saving life. But I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was like emergency center. Yeah, I get what you're talking about, and I mean that's also the most important hospital in that region. So it's important for the people in that specific spot. And something I learned about work from you is just it doesn't have to be suffering or serious and torture or like so stressful, and which is the feeling sometimes I get when I walked into the office, even Google office, even though Google has a great culture, but sometimes I walk in the office, I feel like, oh God, I feel this like everyone is stressed out. Not everyone, most of people, but you bringing this light, playful vibe wherever you go. I wonder like, what's your philosophy in terms of like bringing that into your leadership role? Not many leaders have that kind of vibe, to be honest, especially the higher you go,
Well, now I'm a VP at Hubspot. I do have the responsibility to expand our product and our solution into the Latin American space. Mm-hmm. So I do have direct reports. I have 90 people more or less that directly reporting to me, and I have 300 total at the office, which I'm the legal representative or country manager for that one. So it becomes bigger, and it's just like curiosity. It's the same thing. So I go into the office, and of course I go and we don't have designated offices, so I just grab a desk. I spend some time there. But I start saying hi to people. Say, hey, how are you doing? And there's I have 30 minutes. Let me just go on to the next floor and see who is there. Hey, I'm Camilo. How about you? What are you doing here? Oh, this is my roles. Okay, cool. Do you want to grab lunch? And I have 30 minutes now. Like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, cool, tell me about you. And I don't know, this is what I do. Like, what are you here? Like, I'm the country manager. It's like, oh no. It's like, don't worry. It's fine. I'm not going to bite you. I just want to learn from you. I just want to spend some time. And I do that with every single person on the team, regardless of the position of who they are. Because it's like, I'm generally curious about, I don't want to launch alone. And I have someone who can come with me and I could explore that person. I'm going to make a lot of uncomfortable questions or some fun questions sometimes. And I really love it. And then you start seeing the vibe of the team. So something that I'm known right now, and probably Google too. I like food, and I used to bring a lot of food. So I used to stop on Friday for donuts. Like, hey, I got these donuts. These are special. Just eat it. And I put it there thank you. We have free food at Google. Do you know that? It's like, yeah, but you don't have this type of donuts at Google. So eat those. And I go to my team, and they say when Camilo goes to the office, they're always you bring so much food to the office that they can't stand how food is around us. And I pay for pizzas and I just bring donuts. Look, You're busting your ass. You're helping customers with a lot of stressful work. Sales has a lot of stress and pressure. Just want you here to be happy as possible. And if that means happiness always starts by the stomach, that's what I think for me. So I want to reflect that on you. So eat as much as you can, have some rest, let's have fun, let's celebrate that deal together, let's high five each other, let's help each other. I just love that vibe. And I think you receive what you give. So if I go to the office and I be this serious person that just focus on, oh, I'm so important, I cannot talk to you because you're not on my level, you're going to get that. So people are going to shut down from you. And if I go out and start like, you know what, I'm happy and I want to share my happiness with all of you, or like my frustration with all of you, but because my people know me, my team knows me better. So I go in, I was like, they see me as I feed from them, and what I give is what I get. So if I give kindness, I'm going to get kindness. If I give happiness, I'm going to get happiness. If I give frustration, I'm going to get frustration. I do believe that's karma, dharma. There is a lot of philosophies around it, but I think energy attracts and reacts.
Amount of happiness that you are able to cultivate in you and then you bring it to people. And like I said, every time when I'm around you, I feel happy. I don't know why. I guess that's why, because you know that your energy is so, it's been amplifying and it's just affecting people. Like you can't even control that. But if you bring in the seriousness, like, you know, I do remember sometimes I went into office and everyone's like, well, you know, like the C-level leaders there, don't get too close because he's very stressed out today. And people started to gossip, and then apparently the C-level leaders sometimes heard about this gossip and then did not like it, and the culture becomes, you know, kind of toxic sometimes. And then, but then I realized leaders do have the ability, the power to reverse that, turn it around through their behaviors, their energy level, right? And then that's what you kind of demonstrated just now.
Look at this combo. When you were on my team, that was what, like 2000, probably 17? Has been 6 years, more or less. 6 years. We still talk to each other. And it's like cultivating that. And I'm happy for you. And probably we don't need to be talking every week.
Right.
I remember that I saw something interesting on your Instagram. And I sent you a message. It's like, I'm so happy for you. Genuinely happy. Because I knew you like this. And I think you were like, painting or something. You were doing something like, that's pretty cool, my friend. That's pretty cool. Congrats. And that was it. You replied to me like, let's have a coffee. It's like, well, I'm not in California, I'm in Austin, but let's have a virtual one. Or I was in Colombia at that time. I was like, let's chat. And we spent 30 minutes and I have fun. It's like, oh, great to know about you. I love to see that your projects are coming to fruition. And I'm genuinely happy for you. Yeah. And I love that. And that's how we keep cultivating. And I do that still with the people from those teams, from teams that I had in Colombia when I was working with IBM. I do that still with my team, people that left my team at Hubspot. I still connected with them. With my team, I also like follow them on Insta. They follow me on Insta. We know about each other. They know my stories. We just did an exercise before this meeting with my team, like a team outing, virtual one. Nice. So we just meet our favorite songs and we try to guess which one goes with what person. It was a mess, but it's like you didn't see it on like most of them. And I was like, that I still teach you, like, even though I have been working at Hubspot for 4 years now, almost 4 years now, I still don't know my team to tell exactly what music to do, what is their favorite song. So that's great. I still have a lot of things to do and I still gotta keep learning. I'm still gonna be seeing new faces of people, new things, and it's gonna feed me. I love that piece. That's something as a manager you can get really well fed by the energy of your team. If you give back as well, that's like perfect magic. And that just keeps going and expanding. And that's cool. Some people call it the secret. There is a lot of theories around this, but if you look around it, it's around the same. If you focus your energy on the right things, the universe, that energy is going to come back to you and it's going to make your dreams come true. If you give negative, you're going to get negative. If you give positive, you're going to get positive.
Okay, 2 questions will be quick. One is, what makes us human being? Or what makes you human being? Whichever you feel comfortable answering. Emotions, like recognizing emotions and how we can handle those in every situation. How we can like understand that beyond the flesh and our presence or what we do for a living, we have feelings and we should express those openly. That makes different from animals. Oh, emotions and presence. Yeah, I love that. And the second question, For people who are in the similar position as you, say VP of sales in certain tech companies, or people who are trying to get to that level, what is the one question that you think they should ask themselves to be a little bit more aware of where they are, and or more conscious in their leadership style?
Is this my best version? Period. When you go to a meeting, like what I left on that conversation, that was my best version. That guidance that I gave, that was coming from my best version. And if the answer is no, you need to work on you. And it's not tragic about it. It's like you have a path, keep learning things. That's important. So when you can go into a meeting and say, no, I still have some room to go. I'm going to be my best version in the future. And this is what I need to work on. You start nurturing that. You start cultivating that. You start learning about yourself. And as long as every day you are being a better version of yourself, you're winning the game. But that's the question. Am I being my best version at this point? The answer, most of the time, is going to be, sometimes it's going to be yes. Those moments, treasure those, feel happy about those. When you are not, it's like, what can I do to make this my best version? Your team is going to feel it. You are going to feel it. The energy around you is going to feel it. And you're going to see like things start like working as magic.
That's the mastery orientation, which is different comparing to the performance orientation that you're talking about.
Correct.
Always growing ourselves. Thank you so much, Camilo. This conversation is so fun for me. I really appreciate it. And then we're going to keep the conversation going, but I have to stop recording. I say hi to Juliana and Adriana. And Jake and I will probably visit you guys sometime in Colombia because he loves Latin. I went to Brazil and he's like, I really want to go again. The culture is so different here than America. So we're going to go.
Different. You're going to see that live, which is amazing. And anytime. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this time. I like that we're still having conversations as we used to do at Google. But I'm really proud of like what you have become and where you are right now. So congrats on that one as well. It takes a lot of courage.
Thanks for listening. If you are a conscious leader in tech, sales, and beyond, check out my free Soul Scientist community at shaharda.com/community. Sign up if you resonate with the message. And if you enjoy the show, don't forget to subscribe and share the show with your colleagues and friends. I'll see you next week.